Yo, what's happening, legends? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another cheeky little lunchtime live for you lads and lasses. We are here today to discuss the latest Manchester United news. Oh yes, in what is expected to be a very busy summer, let's be having you. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining us. Do us a favour at the start of this stream. Smash that like button on it. Give us a massive thumbs up. Share us around if you could. That'd be amazing as well. You can give us a repost on X if you fancy it. There's the link pinned at the top of the live chat there. We will shout out everyone later who does give us a shout out on X. Nice one. How are we all doing? Thank you very much for joining us. Give me 1 second. Just got to get the live chat sorted out here. There we go. Excellent. Okay, legends. Let's see who's in here. We've got UK Strains. Mick T. It's not working, is it? There we go. There we go. There it's working. Aaron, what's happening? Yes, PJ. What's happening? Indy, welcome aboard. Yes, lad, get in there. UK Strange, Joshua. How you getting on there? Neil Driscoll, Josh Lee, Grateful Dude. How you getting on? Nick Pendragon, Sikuli. Let's go, Nick Suberling. How you been, lad? Get in there, you legend. Eugene McGeever, Joshua SCJ, yes, lad, Steve Barrero, and everybody else as well. How you been, Nick Suberling? Good to see you, by the way, long-time legend. He says, right at the start here, Pig, we should have sold Bruno. We're going to regret not cashing in. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting, because, like, you're talking about a 31-year-old player who is amazing for us, to be fair. He is pretty awesome for us. He's the only player that's got any sort of decent stats this last season gone. 39 goal contributions in 57 games. But you're talking about a period of change for Manchester United, a transitional period where we could do with the money, couldn't we, to buy other players, to bring in the likes of Mbuemo, Gyokeres, whoever it is, because let's face it, United bottled the season, finished in 15th, didn't get Champions League football next season, so there you go. We're in a bad state of affairs. We've lost out on a lot of money. The way to get that money to buy these players and take United forward is by selling players. But you know what, though? I know what you're saying, but in my humble opinion, right, Bruno Fernandes is not the player you need to sell right now. He of course, it is a good opportunity to raise money for somebody who's that age. But I keep saying it, but it's like Liverpool selling Salah. Does that make sense? If there was a big, massive money offer from Saudi come in? I mean, okay, maybe it's slightly not as huge because Salah had just like the most incredible season just gone. But it still would be like that. You're essentially allowing your best player to go. I don't think it is. I don't think it is that much of a loss for us to miss out on the money here. I think we'd more miss out on his goals, his assists, and his character in the team personally than the money. I mean, in regards to Bruno Fernandes, it looks like obviously he's staying at United. He does have a 3-year contract here left at United. He has reportedly rejected this move to Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia, which, fair play to the lad. You know, we're talking about an insane amount of money. Various reports, whichever reports you look at it, we're talking about, I don't know, 25 million quid or something over a couple of years. Or even if 25 million a year. Somewhere in that region, wasn't it? Some insane amount of money, 25 million a year. So you're talking about an insane amount of cash, which he could have stayed there for a couple of years, and he could have got that tax-free as well if he stays there for 2 years, which basically means that it's almost like earning 4 times as much as you would at Manchester United, or 5 times, because literally the tax is not a factor, whereas at United he's on, the top tax bracket, 50% tax or whatever he's paying whilst earning in the UK. So fair play to Bruno Fernandes, fair play to the lad, because he obviously doesn't want to just go and chase the money. He'd rather chase a little bit of legacy, which begs the question, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? It does beg the question, what's he doing here? Is there another offer going to come in for him this summer from a top European side? That is a possibility, I suppose, because, like I say, if Bruno's staying here because he wants to chase legacy and win Champions Leagues or whatever, then, well, I'm sorry to say we're not there at the moment as a club, are we? We are seriously, seriously struggling in that regard. But in regards to raising capital, in regards to raising cash, I keep saying we've got lots of gash players that we can get rid of. Bruno Fernandes would have given us a nice big fat juicy chunk of change to go out there in the transfer window and spend. However, it would have lost our best player essentially. What we really need to do is get rid of the absolute gash bags at this football club that have been proven to melt for a long period of time, or even just come in and just really been poor and are still wanted maybe by other clubs, and we can sell them. So Hojlund is wanted by Inter Milan at the moment. Get that melter sold, cash in, get 35 mil, 40 mil back, whatever you can. Andre Onana, surely there'd be a team out there crazy enough to be interested in him. A Saudi Arabian team, or maybe a team in Italy. Maybe Inter, who knows? He was there previously. There's got to be other players in the squad that we can move on as well. You know, we're talking about a lot of melters, a lot of fringe players who haven't done a lot for us. And we could certainly look to move them on. I'm talking about Mason Mount. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near what we paid for him, but surely there's got to be some club out there that might want to get a cheeky little bit of Mason Mount action for a cut price. Same goes for Anthony Dos Santos. Anthony Dos Santos is probably going to be wanted by Erik ten Hag because he's his bosom buddy. Absolutely loves him. And over at Leverkusen, they've got a new manager. Obviously, funds available with player sales and stuff, so he could well come and knock on Man United's door and maybe sign Anthony back. And the list goes on, really. Garnacho is a great player. I love Garnacho personally. I'd like to keep him and develop him and turn him into a true Don at the football club. But if his attitude stinks, which I don't know what's going on behind the doors, but if Amorim's not happy with him and his ego's got the better of him and his ideas are above his station and he wants to leave Manchester United, then see you later on, son. You know, let's get the 50, 60 million quid we can generate for that. So all I'm saying is, yes, we've lost out here on 100 million maybe to be able to reinvest in the squad, which would have come in very handy because that sort of money can cover the likes of the Mbuemo transfer and pretty much most of the Cunha transfer as well, which means that we should still have another huge amount of change to be able to go and maybe convince a Gyokeres or something like that to come and play for us, which is exactly what we need. But, you know, I'm very happy to keep Bruno. Let's just say that right now. I can see Kate Cadet getting in the live chat, ever filled with the joys of spring, this lad. He says, now we are stuck with Captain Gastastic. Okay, but who would be getting the captain's armband if Bruno wasn't here? Ask yourself that question. I guess it may be a new signing because all the current ones we've got a gash. What would you see? What would you rather see? Would you see Slabby Maguire given the armband if Bruno was to leave? Do you know what I mean? Bruno might not be Brian Robson. He might not be Roy Keane, but he's the best of a gash bunch we've got at the moment in terms of leadership, in my opinion. But I'll ask the live chat here just for a bit of fun at the start of the show. Are you happy Bruno seemingly is staying at Manchester United? Yes or no? Would you rather have had 100 million and we go and buy some players? Yes or no? I'm very happy with it. I want him to stay. I think it shows you the sort of character he is as well. He's not just going to chase the money. He's not ducking out of Manchester United when the times are getting hard. You know, he is here. He wants to play for us. At least it seems he wants to play for us unless he's got ideas of a move to a top European side. But I don't see that offer coming in. Doris the tea lady is captain. Well, she makes a mean brew. I'll give you that. Nick Subling says no. Joshua says yes. Josh Lee says yes. Bruno all day as captain. I'm happy. Yes. Josh Hernandez says no. Patrick says yes. King Boomy says yes. Grateful Dude says yes. Samaconda says yes. Bruno out now, says Endor. Yes, you're not happy, to be honest, says Charlie. UK's not bothered. It's quite mixed, isn't it? I'm surprised. I thought most people would be buzzing about Bruno staying, but it's quite mixed. I'm just thinking, well, you know, in the team, if we add Mbuemo, if we add Cunha, then in behind a striker, we've got some absolute ballers there. Bruno Fernandes can obviously play that 10 role, but what would probably happen is maybe he would go a little bit deeper and play alongside Utd in the sort of midfield too there long term. And I don't hate that. Bruno Fernandes is a playmaker. Bruno Fernandes is a great passer. Now, he does sometimes give the ball away a little bit too often, but if he could just, you know, if he could rein that in a little bit, he would be sensational. Maybe he shouldn't be that sort of free roaming, you know, player that's all over the place. Maybe he needs to have a bit more rigidity in his role. But I certainly think that he could do a good job for us there. He's definitely a great player. He could get some goals from that position as well. He's a creative player. And also, he can play in the number 10 role. That's probably his best role in a lot of ways. But if we've got Cunha and Mbuemo, that really, you know, there's been lots of competition there with Diallo, etc. But Bruno Fernandes can play in the midfield, is all I'm saying. It gives us extra strength there. I don't see why we would be looking to get rid of our best players, all I'm saying. Yes, money's nice. Money's nice if they're going to go and reinvest that money properly. I don't trust those Glazer shithouses to actually invest that money properly that we get from Bruno Fernandes. You know what? I'm buzzing about this because you know those greasy Glazers, they were rubbing their hands together of the prospect of getting all this money from the sale of Bruno Fernandes, cashing in on this 31-year-old. To be able to now go and reinvest and appease the fan base and show that they're doing something. Well, now, put your own freaking hands in your own freaking pockets, guys. You know, let's invest. The club is in serious need of investment right now in the playing areas. We've got to get half a new team pretty much. So, yes, it would have been easy for them to sell Bruno and sell a bunch of these melts in the team and then use that money. But well, let's have some bloody investment then. You know, I know we've got financial fair play. I know we've got, you know, obviously previous transfer dealings that we're still paying for. But even so, you know, this was a perfect scenario for those Glazer shithouses. Even if he's your best player, they don't care about having the best players in the squad. They just want that money in the squad. So I actually think Bruno staying is going to benefit Manchester United because he's a great player. He's like our best player. So it makes sense to keep hold of your best players, in my opinion. We would have, of course, raised a lot of funds. We could have used that money. It's arguable we could have spent and got better for the squad than Bruno. So I see where people are coming from. Like, let's say, I'll ask the live chat, what would you prefer, Bruno Fernandes or Gyokeres and Mbuemo? That's the question. And I think you'd be pretty silly if you said Bruno Fernandes, actually. Just based on the last sort of season and the stats from these guys. Because Gyokeres' stats are unbelievable. He's going to have to do that in the Premier League, but, you know, his stats are insane. And obviously Mbuemo got 20 goals in the league and 8 assists. So if you could get 2 players for the price of 1 there, like 2 really good players for the price of 1, then okay, fair enough, it would make a lot of sense to do that because they are very good players. But then again, you have to remember, right, that United's a bit of a poison chalice, and these players come to this team and there is some sort of toxicity or some sort of United rust or disease that they seem to get. You know, it's not a guarantee that United would spend that money well and get players that actually were to perform. Who knows? That's it. It's always a gamble. At least with Bruno, we know what we're getting. We're getting a committed player who's our best player, who scored 39, or not scored 39, but contributed 39 goals in terms of assists and goals in the last season just gone amidst a really shite team who finished 15th in the league, and he's still managing to put up really heavy numbers. So I've got nothing but love for Bruno. I'm buzzing about this guy staying. I want us to keep this guy and essentially build the team around him for the next couple of years. It'd be like Salah leaving Liverpool for money. What's the point in that? Liverpool would be worse off. Even though he's older, he's still their best player. So what are we thinking about by getting rid of our best player? Stupid. It's just the Glazers with their cash grab and their greedy eyes who would be quite happy to see this happen. Because, yeah, they don't have to put any hands in their own pockets then, do they? Gungshi, you legend, get in there, you hero. Thank you so much for joining and getting in here. How are you getting on, lad? He says, get in there, Bruno, my son. Come on, I'm happy about Bruno staying. I really am. I think he's going to be a pivotal part of the team under Amorim. I really do. I'm sure Amorim wouldn't want to get rid of him. If you ask Amorim in his heart of hearts whether or not he wants to sell Bruno, I'm sure he would absolutely not want to sell him because he knows that he's a great player. Obviously, he's a compatriot of his as well, but he's a great player and he adds a lot of goals to our team. Without him, where's the creativity coming from? Interesting G2B says that Bruno led us to 15th place. He's a decent player, but he's not great. He wouldn't start in any of the top clubs in Europe. Have you started smoking crack at midday already, mate? What do you mean he wouldn't get into any of the top teams in Europe? Mate, I'm sorry. I think all of the top teams in Europe would be interested in Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is shackled by the shit team around him. If you slotted Bruno into one of the top sides in Europe, imagine if he was playing in that PSG team. Okay, Vitinha's had an incredible season or whatever. I'm just saying. But if you put him in there, I'm sure he'd absolutely do fine. If he's got great, hungry, fantastic players around him who are creating chances, finishing chances. Come on, Bruno would be wanted by most top teams in Europe, I'm pretty sure. If the price was right, he's a baller. He's an absolute baller. Yes. Is Sancho coming back from Chelsea? Yes. Okay, let's get into the rest of the news. So let me actually just cover the news that we've got here today. So, yes, the news from Fabrizio, the big story, obviously, Bruno Fernandes has rejected the Al-Hilal proposal. Get in there, Bruno. What a guy, though. You know, what a guy. He could go and chase the cash and get that big, fat, juicy money. And that would be lovely for him and his family for generations. It really would. You're talking about 25 million a year, tax-free. It's insane. But rather than that, he'd rather stay and play in grey, rainy Manchester, where we're currently facing a relegation battle. You know, that's pure character. That's the sort of guy I want to be around, you know? I want it in my team. That's the sort of guy that I think we should be keeping hold of. So I'm happy for that, to hear that news. Obviously, despite crazy contract proposal from Saudi Pro League, Bruno Fernandes wants to continue playing football in Europe. Man United captain wants to play at the top level in Europe. Decision made. Now, of course, he may not want to go over to Saudi. He has got 3 years left on his Man United deal. But who's to say that there isn't another move on the cards for Bruno if there was a top club in Europe that came in? Because, as I say, he does deserve to be playing in a top side. He deserves to be challenging for Champions Leagues and all that sort of stuff and winning stuff. Thankfully, he's won a couple of trophies over the last few years at United, even though he's been shite. So he might just stay a little bit longer, try and get us back to where we need to be. Maybe he can feel the sense of the project here at United with Amorim, and obviously hoping to get rid of a lot of melts this summer and ring around the changes at the football club, and maybe he wants to be a part of that. Fair play to him. Fair play to the guy, because we're talking about insane cash here. And just the fact that this guy is willing to stay and not chase the money, I think says a lot about him. So Bruno Fernandes, happy to have him. And also, okay, as I was saying, he's not Roy Keane. Who is, to be fair? But as far as the captain's armband goes, let's just ask the chat. Who do you think is the best option for captain right now in the squad? Some of you may say De Ligt. Some of you may say Ugarte. Some of you may say, Maguire. Some of you may say... it's slim pickings is all I'm saying. Bruno Fernandes is clearly the best player that we've got. He's also the best candidate right now for the captaincy, in my opinion. Yes, you could give the armband to somebody else, but Bruno's kind of been proven for us to, to be a committed player. Exactly, doesn't want to quit us. True spin. That's it. And if you were to lose out on Bruno, well, then somebody's getting the captain's armband who's probably not actually qualified to be the captain of Manchester United right now. Martinez, when fit, okay, bit of an F. He's constantly injured. He is in and out injured. And actually, he's got to get into the team established in the first team first, again, after he comes back from the injury, etc., before he could even think about that. Exactly, he's proved he's not a gold digger. Good afternoon there, Kazzy. Yes, nice one. By the way, guys, if you're just getting in here, we've just smashed 100 likes. Big ups to the legends in here. We're on 245 watching people live right now. Thank you for joining us. If you want to help us grow the channel, you can do a couple of things. You can share us around. You can also smash the like on the video. That's one of the easiest ways. Supposedly boost us out there or whatever. Give us a thumbs up on the stream. Help us get to 200 likes. Also, you can give us a repost on X there. Do give us a follow at Flying Pig United as well, so you don't miss anything. Okay, brilliant. Yes, so that is obviously the Bruno news, but then you were just mentioning Jadon Sancho. Let's talk about that for a moment. The Jadon Sancho situation is an absolute debacle. Are we really going to be left with this absolute prima donna overpaid melt bag? Goodness me, it looks like it, because he's unsaleable. It just goes to show you how shit Sancho is, though, when Chelsea don't even want to pay 25 million after having been in there and scored in Conference League finals and stuff. They can't see the value in his deal. They can't see the value in his salary. The wages are astronomical for Jadon Sancho for the player that he is. Nobody wants Jadon Sancho because of that. Even the team that took him on trial when he had an okay time of it, he scored some goals, he had some contributions, he had a bit of a poor time overall, I'd say, but he still managed to get some goals and do some things for them, and they could get a player that's essentially a homegrown sort of player that has potential to be still a very good player, and they don't want to touch him with a 12-foot barge pole, my son. That tells you everything you need to know about Jadon Sancho. He's damaged goods. Nobody wants him. His attitude stinks. And aside from that, he's just overpaid. And so nobody wants to pay those wages. That's it. Chelsea could have easily brought him in, couldn't they? They could afford it. They could afford the 25 million. They could probably even afford the wages as well, but there's just not enough value in it. It doesn't make sense to pay somebody like that sort of money. If you're going to be getting that sort of money, you need to be one of the best players in the league. And he certainly is not. Or at least, the very least, have a fantastic attitude, which he certainly does not. So he's just gonna be festering at Manchester United for a little while longer, I think. We probably will look to move him out on loan. I cannot imagine anybody's going to make a permanent transfer offer for him. Why would they? Why would they? His wages are crazy. Unless we just eat a shit sandwich and pay the majority of his wages or a lot of his wages to go and let him play for somebody else, which is crazy. Let's just hope, fingers crossed, that there is some sort of golden goose out there for us in regards to Sancho, and perhaps the Saudi team would be interested in taking him. And I would think Jadon would be interested in that, even at his age. If I'm any sort of judge of character, which I'm, Not 100%, but I think Jadon Sancho probably would chase the cash. I don't think he'd do a Bruno Fernandes and say, I want to stay and play in Europe or play for Manchester United. I think if there was a massive offer on the table, he would go. So, yes, Jadon Sancho unfortunately leaves Chelsea. He's left Chelsea. Fabrizio says Jadon leaves Chelsea as there's no agreement on personal terms. Chelsea will pay £5 million penalty. And not only don't they want him, but they'd rather give us £5 million so they don't have to keep him. That shows you everything you need to know about this melt. So they've given us £5 million. They've got to pay that penalty clause. Obviously, there's a clause in the contract if they don't make it permanent and they return him to us, then they have to give us £5 million. So what does that say? Anyway, he's going to be returning to Manchester United. So the deal is obviously off with Chelsea now. They're not keeping him, and we're lumbered with him. We're stuck with him for another however long. Hello there, Avram Glazer. What's going on? He says, just joined. Has this guy mentioned my name? Probably have mentioned the Glazer shithouses at some point, mate. Yes, definitely. Always do, Avram, you shithouse. That's absolutely right. Thank you very much for the super chat there, though, mate. Appreciate you. Yes, but Jadon Sancho is not really wanted by anybody in this squad, I don't think, in this team or the coaching staff or anybody. I don't think Amorim wants Sancho. We'll see. Maybe he'll get opportunities. Let's face it, he fell out with Ten Hag. He didn't really fall out with Amorim. So maybe Amorim will actually give him an opportunity. What do you reckon, guys? Keep or sell Jadon Sancho? Keep or sell Jadon? Does he get another opportunity? I mean, it's a hard sell from me. It's a hard sell. Get rid of this guy if you can, any way you possibly can. But yes, Fabrizio reporting that. Also, as I mentioned, the issue is really just about the wages. If his wages were 170k a week, they'd have probably been interested in making that move permanent. If he was prepared to go down in terms of wages, he could have made that move. If he really wanted to go and play for Chelsea for a couple $100,000 a week, he could have made it happen. But he's just a greedy bastard, isn't he? He'd rather just sit around twiddling his fingers, pulling his plonker, and get paid 350 grand a week, whatever it is, to stay at Manchester United when he's not even wanted. So that's the sort of guy we're dealing with here. If he really wanted to play for Chelsea, he could have gone and gone and signed for them for less money. But the issue here is down to his salary and what he's actually asking for, which is ridiculous. Yes, UK Strain says sell. Gangshi says sell. Exactly, sell him. He'll be toxic in the squad. Keep him away from Carrington. Precisely. That's it. So it just shows you the poor business we've done in the past. Highlights it again. It's not just Anthony. It's not just Hojlund. It's not just Onana. You know, Sancho's a terrible signing. We paid, was it 73 million for that guy? And what's he done for us, really? All he's been is a constant thorn on our side. And now it's going to be even really difficult to sell him. It's almost impossible to sell because of the wages that we put him on. Hundreds of thousands of pounds a week for a bang average mediocre player. That's our fault. So the club's been so poorly run that we've got ourselves into these situations where we've just got these true melters on big contracts and we can't get rid of them. The list goes on of players like that at this football club. You know, Luke Shaw is going to be impossible to sell. And what does he justify? Does he justify his place in the squad? No, he doesn't. He justifies his place on the Frey Bentos FC lineup, but not for Manchester United. And even then, I think he'd struggle to get in there. They're a decent Uruguayan side. Do you know what I mean? Even then, I think he'd struggle to get in there and plus he's so injury prone. But he's impossible to sell. He's got a 3-year contract. It's ridiculous. So many players at this club are on crazy money and they're just paid way more than they actually should be. Rock of Bolton, let's go, Rock of Bolton. Thank you for the super chat, lad. Yeah, he says sell the shithouse Sancho. If only we could, mate. If only we could. If only there was some sort of like football jumble sale. Do you know what I mean? Some sort of football car boot sale where you could just, you know, go down the local market, set up a stall. You've got Jadon Sancho here. You've got Andre Onana here. You know, you've got some absolute melters on the wallpaper table. You know what I mean? So to speak. Somebody comes up. Take a £5 for him, would you? No? You could have him for nothing. Do you know what I mean? That's it, really. Like, we just need to be able to get rid of these players at the jumble sale. But we can't. There is no jumble sale. It's impossible to get rid of these guys. So, yeah, I would love to sell Sancho, Rocket Bolton. But, honestly, it's going to be very difficult. More likely that he's loaned out. More than likely he'll go out somewhere. Maybe, I don't know, Germany, Dortmund. Maybe with Ten Hag at Leverkusen. Just imagine that turn of events. But anyway, no. he'll go out on loan, obviously, somewhere, and then we'll pay still a significant amount of his wages to be playing for somewhere else on loan. What a shit-run club. Terrible, terrible planning and everything, and just giving players too much too soon. Disgrace. So there you go. Jadon Sancho, we're pretty much stuck with him. He's not expected to stay. Like, reports are that Jadon Sancho is not expected to stay at United. He's included in the list of players available for sale to generate funds and reinvest on different signings. Sancho's camp will assess options in the coming days and weeks. So he's not expected to stay here, but he's going to be very difficult to get rid of. And it will be a lot more likely that he is loaned out, lad. Yes. Get in there, B&G Darts. How you doing? G'day from down under. Seems like as soon as they get the big bucks, they stop trying so hard. It does seem like that with a lot of these players. I know. That's what makes players like, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and all these guys so amazing, to have that level of dedication for so many years, even though they're getting paid those huge bucks. That's what separates them. The mentality, the elite mentality. These guys just win the lottery and then down tools. They're basically like that Geordie Bin man or whatever, who wasted his millions all those years ago, you remember? Yeah, Lily Gamer's a Chelsea fan. She says, glad we ain't buying him. Exactly, I bet you are. It would have been a pretty average signing, especially for the money involved. 25 million, but also then the extra wages is just astronomical. Mate, thank you so much, by the way, here, Gaz Wads, for getting in with a super chat. Thank you, lad. He says, just want to say congrats on 90k subs. So, Gaz, thank you very much, Gaz Wads. I appreciate that, lad. Yes, we are on 90,000 subscribers. We're getting up there, mate. Help us get to 100k next season by telling your granny about it. Nice one, Gaz Wads, lad. Yep. Tommy Boyle says, point about Bruno. How you doing, Tommy, lad? Point at Ginger's Rock. Point about Bruno. He knows it's a World Cup year. If he has a good season with us and a good World Cup, he knows he can get a 3-year mega deal to end his career after the season takes him to age 35. Very good point. Very, very astute point. And plus also, like, from Bruno's perspective there, surely that offer is still going to be on the table in a couple of years' time. Like, Bruno at 33, surely he's going to be wanted. Maybe not quite as much money involved, but surely he could get a couple of year deal in Saudi when he's 33. I think that's a fair point as well. Like, there's still going to be opportunities for him to do something like that and go for a big money move abroad if he wants to do that at the time. So, yeah, he might not quite get what he's getting now, but still, I certainly think he'd be wanted in a couple of years' time there. So, Bruno Fernandes, fair play to the guy. I do like the fact that he wants to stay for us. I'm just disappointed that this melt, Jadon Sancho, doesn't want to go. And he wants to stay, but he doesn't want to stay to play for us. He just wants to stay because he's happy getting 300k a week, this absolute scummer. I'm sorry, but it is a disgrace, guys. There was an opportunity for him to go to Chelsea. They would have had him. They would have had him if he wasn't a greedy bastard. But he's a greedy bastard. And I know what people would say, oh, would you really go and turn down a job? Or would you turn down a job where you're getting paid X amount and it's twice as much as going to get it at this different place? It's not the same. It's not the same. It shouldn't be a job like that. I know it seems to be for a lot of these meltbags, these players, but surely he wants to play. Surely he wants to play regularly and play for a team that wants him. What's he going to do? Just be a loan merchant for years? I mean, that's crap, isn't it? What a crap mentality. This is exactly the reason why this melt's not in the England setup. It hasn't been in the England setup for years. Even though a few years back, he was balling in the England setup. When he was over in Germany at Dortmund, he was balling in the England setup. You know, he was given opportunity. He was looking good. He was looking like he was going to develop and be a good, great player for the future. But guess what? His mentality's gash. He doesn't have that elite mentality or the mentality of somebody to work hard. So he thinks he's the man because he's got this huge contract, but he's not. He's actually not. He's actually completely bang average, really, which is exactly why Chelsea would rather pay 5 million quid to Manchester United to get him off of their books and send him back to us. It's a disgrace. Oh. Anyway, let's get on to some more positive stuff. So let's get some. Obviously, we heard the news yesterday that Bryan Mbuemo decided to give priority to United for the move this summer. Let's hope that's still the case and he wants to join us, obviously. There is expected to be a bid very soon actually coming in. So Florian Plettenberg reporting a few hours ago that United want to start negotiations with Brentford shortly in order to finalise the deal with Bryan Mbuemo. The player has already given his approval. Verbal agreement's done. Man United are optimistic that the transfer will go through. It will be their second statement signed in an attack after Matheus Cunha. Now, there's a few question marks about this, isn't there? Hopefully the Bruno sale doesn't affect any of this. There's got to be lots of other players we can move on to generate cash. Maybe it's a case of we are having to sell players first, though, before we're able to actually bring players in, which would, of course, delay things and increase the likelihood that maybe Mbuemo is going to be going elsewhere. We've heard this before, haven't we, about verbal agreements being made and agreements in place. And yes, they might have agreed to join Man United in principle in regards to the amount of money that we would pay them. But then if another club just swoops in, then there's every chance that they will end up going there, like Liam Delap did with Chelsea, obviously, because they could offer him Champions League. So lots of clubs should be interested in Mbuemo. I'm surprised nobody's made like an official big concrete move for him. But if we can get him and pinch him now, it would be an absolutely brilliant signing. So it's expected that we'll be working on that deal in the next hours, days, for Bryan Mbuemo over at Brentford. And yeah, if we could get him for about 50 million smackaroonies, I'd be a happy bunny. Oh, Gungshi. Get some love in there for Gungshi, lads. Oh, Don Gungshilione. One of the absolute OGs. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Gungers. I appreciate you, legend. He says, congrats on hitting 90k big. Thank you so much, Gungshi, lad. Thank you for being there since, I don't know, 15k, 10k, 5k? Don't know. Pretty much one of the longest people watching. So thank you, Gungshi. Appreciate you. Congrats on hitting 90k. Yes, lad. We are on our way to 91k now, guys. Give us a subscribe if you're new. Help us get to 91k, and we'll yes, thank you very much, Solitude Guard. Yes, we will get there eventually, hopefully, hopefully anyway. Yes, get in there. Mikhail Kramer, Udon as well. William Udon. Right, so yes, Mbuemo bid expected to be coming reasonably soon. Man United really do need to try and focus on this guy. So what a signing that would be, to add those goals and that quality to our side. And if you're thinking about Matheus Cunha and Mbuemo, both the right sort of age, 25, to come in there and be successful and ready-made for the next 5 years for Manchester United potentially. That's what we need right now. I don't really want us to go and sign 19-year-old players who have bags of potential at the moment. That's probably not what we need. We've already got a lot of great youngsters. We need to have a bit of a mix of experience and youth, but certainly we need players who are coming into their primes that are going to do bits for us at a high level for the next few seasons. Matheus Cunha's stats are brilliant. Matheus Cunha is an absolute baller. If you watch in the last couple of seasons, particularly the last season for Wolves, I mean, he's a match winner. He's scoring a shitload of goals from all over the place, all different types of goals. Very, very dangerous, very creative, got an eye for goal, match winner. That's what we need to add. Same goes for Bryan Mbuemo. So if you add both of them into our team, say in behind a proper striker who can finish, then I think we'll be pretty damn sorted for creation and goals and stuff like that. Obviously, the style's got to come, the team, the tactics, all of that's got to be there. But in terms of personnel, those guys are designed to score goals in the Premier League. They've already done it. They've proven it. So if we can get them in the side and playing well, I don't see why we're not going to absolutely ball out this season. Of course, we do need to get a number 9, which is where someone like Gyokeres would be a high priority. You may well see that now that Bruno's not going anywhere, that's sort of scuppered that possibly. We're going to have to sell players. We've got to get rid of Hojlund. We've got to, of course, get rid of Onana if we can. We've got to get rid of all these players that we can generate some cash with, Anthony, etc. And then just maybe we'd be able to have a crazily good transfer window, which would be, in my opinion, the bare minimum of what we need. Bare minimum is Cunha and Mbuemo. We need a number 9, a proper number 9. Take your pick, but me personally, I like Gyokeres. There's talks of Osman, whatever, but just take your pick there. And then a goalkeeper is of paramount importance because Andre Onana, the Flappy Bird extraordinaire, cannot be trusted, so he needs to be replaced this season, for this upcoming season. Get rid of him, get new goalkeeper, and that's going to solve a lot of the problems. That would be like a properly good forward line to score a lot of goals, and also if we could get a good goalkeeper, again, take your pick, Emi Martinez or whoever, to improve things at the back there, then surely we would concede a lot less, and we'd just be a better, stronger team with a better base to build on as well. Of course, you still got to look at getting maybe, a wing back in or a midfielder in. But if we are signing Mbuemo and Cunha, then there's still emphasis on a chance there for us to play players in slightly other positions. Like Bruno can play that central midfield role alongside Ugarte or Casemiro or whatever. Then you could have even Amad Diallo playing as a wing back, I suppose, which is not what I want to see. But if you're attacking late on, and you need some goals, bringing him on to play on that right side and just wreak havoc, you can see that maybe working. Of course, he's still going to be playing number 10 sometimes for us as well. But it really does add a lot of danger to our side at the top there, and that's the bare minimum of what we need to do. If we can do those things, we should be much better placed this season. Come in. Xander, mate, get in there. Thank you so much for the super chat, Xander, lad. So, Get some love hearts in there for him. He says, great to hear Bruno staying. I was starting to get worried United was going to turn it around this season. Hopefully, hopefully Cassie and Rasmus stay too. I actually thought it was a nice comment until I actually processed it in my brain there. How dare you, Xander lad? He's happy Bruno's staying because he thinks that we might have spent that money well and improved ourselves this season. Well, you know what? I don't share that opinion personally. I think Bruno's going to be great for us this season, like he has been pretty much every other season. Yes, the team's been shite, but Bruno's had some epic times in the red shirt of Manchester United, hasn't he? Okay, maybe he's not been quite able to recapture that first 18 months of consistency and form. But the team's been awful since then, really. The team's been pretty awful. With a great set of players around him, I've got faith in Bruno. He's an absolute baller. Yep, Diego Leon and Mbuemo on the wings. It's game-changing for us, says Tommy Boyle. Shaka says, you sound deluded. United are finished. But we're not finished, though, are we, Shaka lad? We had a shite season, lad. A properly shite season. One for the history books, mate. We finished 15th. Minus 12 goal difference, whatever it was. Horrendous, lad. 42 points. It's one for the history books, mate. Just absolute pure gashness. But we're not going to have another bad season like that, mate. It would be almost impossible. You know, I mean, touch wood and everything, but I can't see it happening, boss. I can't see it happening, especially when we're looking about getting these sorts of quality players in that we're talking about. We've already signed Cunha. That's official. We're working on Mbuemo. If we get a proper number 9, that'd be epic. Players still want to come to us, apparently, even without the Champions League football. You know, okay, they might be coming just for a big fat paycheck, which is definitely fair. We're going to pay them probably better than anybody right now in England, because we need them. But also, they're coming because United's just a massive club with huge potential. And in a couple of years' time, we could be right up there challenging again. All we need is a good season. That's it. We just need a good season. I don't hear this. I don't want this negative shite. Nobody could have predicted United finishing 15th last season. You're talking shite if you did. And let's face it, Manchester United have the ability to get back into it and do things in the future. Look at what Nottingham Forest did last season. Okay, they ended up finishing 7th or whatever, but they were on the cusp of Champions League. Man, nobody saw that happen, and everybody thought they'd be contending down there at the lower part of the league. They had a good season. They turned it around. They did well. Like, Man United can do that too. You know, under Amorim, he needs time, needs backing. Maybe he won't be the guy. He's not exactly shown amazing leadership or tactics or whatever you want to say so far, because the team's played like shite since he's been in, really. But he was having to play with a gash squad. You've got to back and give him what he needs, and then maybe we can turn it around. We just need one good season. That's it. We could. I'm sorry to say, I don't care what anybody says. We could get into the top 4 next season if we spend well and everything goes to plan. The likeliness of it is very small. I am predicting we finish 8th. But I'm just saying, if we sign really great players, if we were to get Gyokeres, if we were to get Martinez, if we were to get Mbuemo, as well as Cunha, I'd be buzzing about our prospects next season. Plus, no Europe to play. That means we can focus on the league, focus on the domestic cups. You know, and you say United's finished. Well, how many other teams that have finished do you know win 2 trophies in 3 years? And we're in a European final as well, and just lost that to the shithouse Spuds. Okay, that's a melt job. But it's not like we're not contending for things still. We're still able to win the FA Cup, still able to win the League Cup, still able to get to a final Europa. So we're not finished, are we? We're just in a really shite cycle, really shite period of time. And with the right personnel in the team, with big changes, I'm pretty sure we can get back to being a lot better team. Okay? We might not be winning anything anytime soon in terms of Champions Leagues or the Premier League. We can certainly get back to being a good team. Anyway, that's my hopes. I think everybody's just had the shit kicked out of them mentally by Manchester United over the last couple of years, where you just think we're gash or something, you know, we are done. We're not done. We've just had a bad few seasons. You can turn it around. We can turn it around. We just need a banging season. We just need to really hit the ground running at the start, get a really good set of players in for the summer, and let Amorim cook. And if he does well, who knows what he can go on and achieve? Who knows? So I'm trying to stay positive. I said it many times. I've criticised Amorim a few times since he's been here. Some of his selections, you know, the Europa League final, some of his substitutions, whatever. But ultimately, I was saving my judgment for him for next season. I still think quite unfair, really, to just write him off. He might well prove himself to be a great coach for this football club. Let's back him. Let's see. Let's see. What's the worst thing that can happen? He sharts it by Christmas time, we're 15th again, and then we have to sack him and get somebody else. Well, at least we let him have a chance. At least we gave him some players that might be able to play in his system. He has a different system. The board, the owners, they knew what they were getting in for by getting Amorim. He plays a certain system. They knew what they were getting. People say, oh, he's got to be able to play multiple different systems. Yeah, I like that. I like a coach who can get his team playing different ways. That's needed. But also, they knew that having got these conversations with Amorim, that he was going to get them to play that way, that he was going to go through the fire and try and get them to change. They knew that. So don't blame Amorim. Blame the shithouse owners for appointing him, or the board or whoever for appointing him, if that's what you're worried about. I think he needs time, needs back, and we need to trust the process. Trust the process. Xander says, hope Onana stays too. He's great entertainment. Oh, man, I could only imagine Onana is loved by rival teams. I could only imagine that. There you go. Yes, Jose, Kelleher's class, but would never go to United. That's the problem there, isn't it? That whole Liverpool vibe. I don't know if they'd sell him, probably not to us. But yeah, Onana, it's just not it, is he? That's it. We can all agree on that. I think Onana needs to be sold. It's coming back, Piggy. I love that, John Boy Cat. Love that. Love that. Yeah, exactly. Shaw's a Southwestern Eagle. Fair enough. Bottomed Bliss says, we are well and truly done. Stick a fork in us. Okay, the only problem really is the owners. That's it. Without the owners, there's nothing stopping this club really getting back there. The owners are terrible. That is true. The running of the club is bad. But the fan base is elite. It's one of the biggest, best fan bases in the world. You're always going to have a lot of money available at United because of the support globally, etc. It's a brand. It's a massive brand. So I don't think we're done at all. I think we're shackled massively by our current situation and our shithouse owners, etc. Let's just hope for a miracle, guys, and those guys going. Let's get a hashtag Glazers out in there. Thank you. Yeah, us and Spurs both had the two worst roster issues with injuries, never fielded the same team more than 2 games in a row. No two ways about it. It has a lot to do with both clubs. Having poor seasons, definitely, mate. That's so true. Spurs were absolutely wrecked with injuries. So were United a lot of the time. We weren't able to really cement a proper back line or, anywhere in the team for a lot of the time, were we? So that's a fair point. Still, though, you've got to obviously plan now for this season for the squad. But that's not Amorim's fault with what he had available last time. For the summer, we've got a plan for this season, so we don't have that issue, obviously. Nick AV, he says, Bruno rejecting 100 million is stupid to us since no European club will want to sign him since he's 31 and not a youth prospect. Is it, though? Is it, though? I mean, this is the thing, right? How much money do you really need? Like, okay, I get it. If money's your god, then that's it. Fair enough. That's all you focus on. That's all you want. Money's lovely. My late great mother used to have an expression, and I've said it before on this channel. Sorry for boring any review, but she used to say this, and it's always stuck with me: enough is as good as a feast. Enough's as good as a feast. Do you really need to have a feast and make yourself vomit and puke up like a Roman soldier or whatever, and then eat again until you just turn into some big gluttonous mess? Or is enough as good as a feast? As long as you've got enough. As long as you've got enough. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Bruno Fernandes, I think, has enough at Manchester United. He's on hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. He's obviously happy in Manchester. His family's happy. You're talking about uprooting his family, small children and stuff, and taking them to Saudi Arabia. I mean, in some ways, it's cool. But in other ways, it's a bit of a bloody upheaval. I mean, just ask yourself this question. I don't know what you do for a living. Maybe you're in IT. Maybe you get paid £50,000 a year in the UK to work in IT. I don't know, whatever, for IBM. Okay, now you get an offer to go and do the airport announcement boards for 100k a year over in Qatar. Let's say 100k a year, nice one. But is it really worth uprooting your whole family and taking them there and taking them out of school and taking them away from their family and friends and everybody and all that sort of stuff? Is it really worth it? It might be, but also maybe it's not. It's not all about money, is it? That's all I'm saying. I think Bruno's happy at Manchester United, and I think he's, I think he's quite content with the money that he earns. I would be if I was him. You don't have to whore yourself out and sell yourself off and be a sellout when you're getting the sort of money that Bruno Fernandes is getting. He's already got crazy capital. He's already got no problems there. So I think fair play the lad, respect the lad. Plus, in a couple of years, he could also get a big move to Saudi Arabia if he wants in a couple of years. Maybe not as much now, but he can still get moved there. So fair play to Bruno Fernandes. It shows character. It shows character. Always remember Mikel Arteta, right? Fair play to Mikel Arteta, right? Mikel Arteta was a good player, wasn't he, back in the day? When he was at Everton, he was a good player, wasn't he? And he moved to Arsenal. And he moved to Arsenal for less money. He was getting paid more money at Everton. But he wanted to be part of Wenger's team. He wanted to be part of that Arsenal team and actually be up there and maybe challenge for things, maybe play in Europe, all that sort of stuff. So he left and he went to them for less money. Fair fucking play to Mikel Arteta. And fair play to Bruno Fernandes for staying at a 15th place struggling Premier League side when he could have been getting paid, 100 million or whatever it is over a period of time over there in Saudi. I've got nothing but respect for him and his decision there. I think that's brilliant. Those are the sorts of players we want. Bruno Fernandes wants to be a United legend. He loves United. Exactly. He loves United. He seems to love Manchester. His family are happy in England. Why would he upset that? Why would he want to go to Saudi for the money? I'm not hating on people who do that. Obviously, they're getting rich. They're making loads of cash. It's amazing. Fair play to them. But it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone going to play in the Saudi Pro League. I'm sorry to say, even now, with all the money they've chucked at it and all the players they've got, it's still a shite league. It is a shite league, guys. Don't care what anyone says. It's a shite league. In a few years' time, it might be a great league because they're chucking so much money at it. And I'm sure they'll just buy all the best players in the world eventually. And it'll be a great league then, probably. But right now, it's still a shite league. And there's not much legacy going on. Who cares if you win the Saudi Pro League? I don't care. Do you care? Who cares if you win the Saudi Pro League, guys? It's not a legacy thing. Legacy is Premier Leagues. Legacy is Champions Leagues, La Ligas, Serie A's. That's legacy. The FA Cup means a hell of a lot more than the Saudi Pro League, in my opinion, no? So that might just be my sort of perspective over here in England as a Premier League fan. But I don't think it is. I think it's just a money league. It's just a money cash league. That's all it is. So, yeah, there you go. Arteta is a 90s mentality. That's what I mean. It's beautiful, isn't it? Fair play to him and fair play to Bruno for staying. It's definitely not a bad thing that he wants to stay. It's not a bad thing for us. It shows that he's committed. Maybe he's looking for a move somewhere else in Europe, but I actually think he's going to be committed to his 3-year contract at Man United. Casemiro and Sancho combined 1 million a week in wages. I mean, I don't know who's told you that really, Shaka lad, but that's definitely not the case. Sancho, I believe, is on about 300,000 a week, which is ridiculous. And Casemiro, I think, is on about... He's actually got the best contract at the football club, I think, which is close to like 400,000 or somewhere in that region, maybe, possibly, which is crazy. Oops, what's happened there? But nah, not a million. not a million, not quite a million, but still. Right, anyway, I'm going to get into the live chat now for a proper Q&A, but before I do, I'm going to go shout out everyone on X who's given us a little cheeky lunchtime repost. You can click the link pinned at the top of the live chat there and give us a little repost. Also, smash the likes. We're 4 likes away from 200 thumbs ups. Give us a massive like. Help us get to 200 likes on the stream here. And we're going to have a Q&A, but before I do, I'll just run down everything that we've discussed very quickly here. So, Bruno rejects Al-Hilal. He is staying at Manchester United at least for the foreseeable. He's not going there just for the money. Fair play to Bruno Fernandes. Love it. Love to see that. Also, Hojlund to Inter is a serious possibility. So Rasmus Hojlund is a concrete target of Inter, reports Florian Plettenberg, and various other sources say that, as reported in our transfer update broadcast on Monday evening, he's on their list. Man United are open to offers and talks have already taken place. So these are positive signs that we're going to be making some changes, getting rid of some of the melt jobs and bringing in some better players. Surely that's the plan. So Hojlund to Inter is on. And from their perspective, they're still getting a good young player who has big potential to do well in the Serie A league. So fair play to him. Also, another one from Florian just says that United want to start negotiations with Brentford shortly in order to finalise the deal for Bryan Mbuemo. Obviously, it was reported that Mbuemo wants to join Manchester United and is keen on us. It says here that the player's already given his approval and verbal agreement's done. Still a chance he could go elsewhere, I suppose, but it does look good that United can get this deal done. We've got to negotiate with Brentford. Let's hope that they don't want too much. 50 million smackaroonies. Surely they'd be open to selling him, but any more than that, really, and, they might start taking the piss a little bit. Hopefully it's not drawn out and a long negotiation, because we need to get it done. We need to get him in. He would be a great addition and hopefully fend off interest from any other clubs as well. And then the other sort of story here, obviously, Jadon Sancho leaves Chelsea. They don't want him. They've paid us £5 million to take him back. That's how shit he is. His wages are obscene, and now we're stuck with this clown. There's a possibility he'll be out on loan, I suppose. That's probably the most likely thing that happens. And I guess he could still be sold in a permanent transfer, but his wages are always going to be the problem here. So Fab says the main issue for Sancho was his salary, as Chelsea didn't want to match his current salary at United. after negotiations, the deal is off, and Sancho is back to United from the end of June, ready for a new move. Absolute debacle. So he's not expected to stay at Manchester United, but it probably will be a loan move. Anyway, let's get stuck into the live chat then. Big ups to the live chat legends. Hit that thumbs up button. Oh, hang on. Let me go and shout out everyone who's reposted us on X real quick here. Big ups to the legends. We've had 12 reposts. Thank you so much, everyone who's reposted the news show. Aaron Homeyard, Vincent Bullock, Kieran, Tyler, MUFC Brummy Reds, Jan S., Aidan Vickery, John Boy Cat, TP, The Butcher of Manchester, Tommy Boyle, and Feline Fur, you dons. Thank you so much for sharing that out there, guys. Really, really appreciate that. Legends. And we smashed 200 likes. Get in. Right, okay. Also, I think, wasn't there something in the deal about a lack of Champions League football, maybe? Or lack of European football? Probably not. I think it was actually expected that there would be a boost if they got Champions League football. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, Kate Cadet, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, try telling Luke Shaw enough is as good as a feast. True, true, true. At least he doesn't have, crazy high, tastes. At least he's just interested in tinned pies, such as Frey Bentos, So I respect this guy. But, no. Yeah, good call. You can't tell him that, mate. Enough's as good as a feast, though, in regards to Bruno Fernandes, and that is what we like to see. I'm still happy about it. Sancho needs firing and back to flipping burgers. Oh, if only. Bloody hope so, says Solitude Guard. Good afternoon there. Yeah, it looks like at Arctic Jacko. He'll be near impossible to sell now. That was our sort of out with Jadon, was Chelsea taking him off of our hands. Even they don't want him. They don't see the value in the deal. They don't want to pay him the wages. They don't want to pay the 25 million for him. So, yeah. How can United expect Chelsea to pay 5 million if it's Sancho turning down the move due to wage demands? Surely this would have been agreed before the loan was agreed. Well, that's it. They'd rather pay 5 million quid than pay 25 million and the wages. That's it. They'd rather just give him back and pay 5 million quid. So that's what it is, really. Yeah, Sancho wants his money. Basically the same as what you get at Manchester United, obviously. That's what he wants. And they would have had some sort of, a verbal agreement in place at the very least, I suppose, or maybe even, as you say, an actual agreement. But if Chelsea had the option not to make it permanent, they had the option to return him. Maybe they tried to negotiate Sancho down on the wages to make it more of a worthwhile move for them. But they don't see the value in the 25 million to make it permanent and also paying him 300,000 a week. They don't see that value, and they're right to not see that value. It's more valuable to them to give him back to United and pay us 5 mil. That's the sad truth, which is crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Kate Cadet says, how long is left on Sancho's contract? That's a very good question. Let me just see if I can find that very quickly. I don't think it's that long, is it? It's probably a year or two, maybe a year, because he's been here for a good few years. I mean, it was that Ollie season we signed him, and he's been proper shite. So it's not like we've been extending it or anything. But let's have a look. So it expires. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% because the website Transfer Market I'm looking at, it just says Chelsea contract expires, June 30th. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, actually, but it's probably a year or two, mate. It's not a long one, I don't think. 1 year, there you go. 12 months, there you go. So, yeah, we're only stuck with him, I guess, until next season. But surely for him, he wants to go and play. But it seems not. It seems he'd rather just collect the cash. Yeah, that's a good shout, Nick. Would be best for Sancho to go back to Dortmund. That's a great shout, mate. Yeah, for him, that'd be a good move. Would they be able to afford him? No, they couldn't pay those wages. Maybe we could help out. Yeah, the 5 million was in an agreement. That's it, exactly. So there was a clause. If they wanted to return him to us, they have to give us 5 million. So it was kind of like an obligation to buy with an asterisk or a clause that says, if we've got an out, we've got a break clause, basically. We can give him back to you for 5 mil. There you go, Shaka, exactly, there you go. Rumours are, Piggy, that Sancho has been offered to us, West Ham, but I can't see us paying anywhere near 350k a week. I can't imagine you would pay even half of that, would you really, Gaz? And we're not going to pay him the rest of the half of the contract to play for a Premier League rival. We might pay him a significant amount just to get him off of our books a bit early to go to Dortmund. But surely we're not going to pay him to play for you guys. That'd be crazy. Yep, summer 2026 it expires. What club on earth would buy Sancho and pay him the full wage? Maybe a Saudi club. Honestly, I could see a Saudi club wanting him. He would fit in well good over there because obviously he seems like a bit of a money-grabbing bastard. So if he wants to go and chase the cash, what better place to go and chase the cash than the Saudi Pro League where they just chuck money at average players? Yep, that's true. Verbal agreements don't mean much without a club structure that values player integration. United paid bid, but never built a role around him. Now we're stuck negotiating around wages. Interesting point here, Dan. So in regards to Sancho, it is quite interesting how you could argue that maybe we've not actually utilised him the best we could over the years. If you look at when he was at Dortmund, he was playing regularly on the right wing, I'm pretty sure, and he was doing absolute bits for them. Also, equally, we've just basically mixed his positions around for us the whole time. But he's just shite. That's the thing. His attitude stinks. You hope we get top 8 at least. Oh, man. Isn't it a sad time when we're only thinking about getting top 8 and that being good? I'm with you, though, Imran. I'm with you, mate. That's realistic. That's the best we can sort of hope for with how bad we've been this season and how much change is needed. But isn't it sad? Can't we give Fergie a 3-year contract rookie as assistant? Oh, bless him. Fergie would struggle right now with this shit show. I know Fergie was a special man. Great coach, ridiculous manager, just the best, great motivator, all the rest of it. But even he would struggle with this set of belts. Plus, in this modern league with, the other teams having so much money as well, it's not as easy as it was. We're not the team that's able to... I'm not saying Fergie, not to take anything away from Fergie, but I'm just saying right now, I think even he, the godfather, would struggle with this Manchester United side in getting them to be competitive, unless he's allowed to buy lots of players, etc. Sancho seems like the type of person who refused to leave United just to give the club the middle finger. Yeah, precisely. He'll just quite happily sit playing FIFA at 1 a.m. like he was that time. It's exactly like Live Golf compared to PGA Tour. Nobody cares. Precisely, yeah. It's a great chance for these athletes to go and make money, isn't it? But is anybody really tuning into that Live Golf shite? I mean, I've been aware of it for a couple of years now, have never tuned into it, whereas I have tuned into PGA Tour events, even though I'm sort of a big casual with golf. Still watched a few, watched the Masters. Sancho will never play for United again. He's talked crap about United online. He's finished. Yeah, Saudi would be the only option for Sancho. You're right, Big. Yeah, or Germany. He could go back to Dortmund, I suppose, but the cash is a problem. That's a good one, Mace Windex, I agree. Should be able to sack players who talk bad about the club. Yeah, definitely. There's so much player contract power, it's sad. Bruno's a milestone around the team's neck as we circle the drain, not a captain, not even a team player. I don't know, I disagree really, Neil. I sort of see what you're saying. Sometimes he's a bit of a moaner. I have seen his head drop in a couple of games here and there. But largely, he's a committed, dedicated player for us who never stops running, never stops trying. And he does get frustrated. And I think you've got to say it would be frustrating being him, playing with half a team of shite bags. Give him 5 minutes and send him to Tesco's. Sancho coming back's like being paid cash by the bin men to have your wheelie bins emptied. It is. Man United just about begin. Nowhere finish. Yes, exactly. Francois Coq, how you doing, mate? Xander with another super chat. He says, whoever negotiates Sancho's contract is Primo United. Well, that's it. Who did that, or who did all that business? So at that time, we still had that Woodward melt there, didn't we? So he was still in the club. It's no surprise. I'm pretty sure he was still around about there. So not long after that, he left. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we had that Woodward melt. I can't really remember who was sort of in charge of the recruitment properly, but yeah, that Sancho deal was ridiculous. Do you think United will truly achieve any real success under the current ownership? It's possible. It is possible. If a manager is able to get who he needs and get a good team together, fundamentally, it's their job to get the best out of the team. There's lots of problems behind Manchester United in the back room and everywhere, but technically, we could. It's less likely because they do shackle us and they don't run the club well, which means that it's less likely that somebody is going to come in and have what they need and the right sort of setting to be able to get them to really truly get world class again. That's it. We're shackled by them, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but I certainly think that we'd be much better off getting rid of those cash bags. There you go, Woodward, John Murtow. Yeah, John Murtow and Woodward, these melts. They shafted us big styly, didn't they? Yeah, they did. Who's that melter who's like working for a motorcycle company these days? Do you know what I mean? I forget who was that? Was that Woodward? Who's that? Somebody left us, now they're working in for some fucking motorbike company or something, like doing some guff for them. It goes to show you what the hell sort of people we had in charge at our club. We're not even football people. What's up, Mike Blakemore? How you doing? Timo Shafter's on the case. Woodward also gave Shaw his current contract and this last Lindelof contract. Yeah, crazy. Not really, Keanu, Steve. Obviously, the links are still there, but it's quite unlikely at this stage, really. We've got to get some players out first anyway. So I think Mbuemo can be done. We've got Cunha, and Mbuemo could be done without us having to sell anyone. But probably beyond that, we're going to have to get rid of some players. Yeah, there you go. Edan, precisely. Created, talented, underrated. There you go. You concentrate on some class defenders, not attackers. Really? Okay, but the defence, you could argue, has not been the biggest problem for us this season. We do have injury-prone players there, though, and that's a concern. And we probably could do with getting another good centre-back in there. But if De Ligt can stay fit, he'll cook. If Martinez can stay fit, he'll cook. Maguire's a good squad player to have around the gaff, 100%. Lenny Yoro has potential to be really, truly world-class. He looks fantastic. So we've got, and Aiden Heaven looks really good as well. We've got some good players there. The real issues, I think, is the goalie and the striker. And also, just getting a few more goals in there up top. Osman not coming now. Quite unlikely that. Quite unlikely. Right, we're going to read a few more comments out. We've already been on here on an hour. You what? We'll read a couple more comments out, though. Have your say finally in the chat here. It looks like United cash flow's buggered up. Definitely, mate. Lost out on a lot of cash. Huge cash outgoing as well every single year. Servicing debts and servicing previous player signings. Let's go, Raven. We're going to be bringing you all sorts of United news throughout the day. Covering all of the... Obviously, there's no watch-alongs or anything for a while. So we're going to be getting raw on the news, on the Man United news, and also we are doing FIFA tonight on the gaming channel as well. Osterman won't come in the Oster restructuring raise. He would demand too much. I think you're right. When we shouldn't be signing players on 300,000 a week right now or anything crazy like that. We need to sign a different type of player. That's it. Norton Motorcycles. Yeah, he's at Norton Motorcycles. Oh, that's Richard Arnold. Oh, yeah, my bad. That's Richard Arnold. My bad. But it does go to show you, though, how ridiculous. Like, what's that about? You don't leave a job in football to go and work for Norton Motorcycles. You leave a job in football to go and get another job in football. Why the hell we got a Norton Motorcycles melt who was had any sort of responsibility at the football club is crazy. Oh, I will be definitely covering the England games, mate. Who are we playing? Andorra, is it? Need a new left wing. I don't know. We're getting Cunha in to play 10. At least the narcissistic bedwetters like Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho don't want to stay. They'll be gone. I haven't even mentioned Rashford, have we? We haven't even really mentioned Rashford. Rashford's another one that we could sell and get money back for. That's true. And his wages off the books would be like a player sale in itself. Unfortunately, Onana's always fit. How old was Bobby Robson when he last managed? Fergie can only save Manchester United. How old was Bobby Robson when he last managed? He was manager at Middlesbrough for a while, wasn't he? When was that? That was, I don't know. It's a good question. Round about late 90s, was it? 2000? Can't really remember, mate. When was, oh, sorry, Bobby Robson. Oh, fuck, sorry. Sorry, I read that wrong, lad. That was when Bobby Robson. Sorry, my bad. Newcastle United, when it was probably like 2005, was it? 2005? Don't know. 2004, 3? Somewhere around about there, Bobby Robson. Sorry, I got my Robsons mixed up there. Yeah, was he in like 75 when he was at Newcastle? Yeah. In order to make great bikes. So I'm not disputing that, but I'm just saying Richard Arnold should not be any, why was he at our club? Thank you, Gaz Wads. Appreciate you, legend. Kept me entertained on my day off. Thank you, Gaz Wads. There you go. Your French, yeah, exactly. There you go. 2004. Okay. Rashford back at United? Don't. Rashford going to Barca, wages off our books. Maybe. His wages are very contentious. That's an issue. Your old dad had BSAs and Triumphs, but not Norton. But Nortons were class also. Oh, yes, old school British motorbikes. She's absolutely banging back in the day. Anyway, right, guys, we're going to wrap this stream up. Thank you so much, all of you. What's the striker news? There isn't much, really. We're obviously working on Mbuemo, but an actual striker, proper out striker, still linked with people like Gyokeres, and obviously we are trying to sell Rasmus Hojlund at the moment. Inter Milan are interested. Yep. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up this stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, smash that like button before you go. Hit the subscribe if you're new. Click the bell icon for notifications. Keep a lookout on the channel for upcoming updates and transfer news and all the latest goings-on surrounding Manchester United. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch and Kick at Flying Pig United. All the links in the description. Come back after this video is finished and get your thoughts and opinions in about anything we've discussed. Also, go over and subscribe to Flying Pig Gaming. There is a link coming in the chat here. If you're not subscribed to Flying Pig Gaming on YouTube, go and subscribe. We do FIFA streams, other streams over there. There's the link in the chat right there. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Piggy loves you. Have a great day. Nice One United Prodigy, Bizarre, Daz, UK, Tommy Boyle, UK, and everybody else as well. Mikhayu, all the moderators, all the members. Big up Gungshi, BNG Darts, legends. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Get your thoughts in after, and we'll keep the debate going. And remember, Piggy loves you. And also remember, When the seagulls follow the trawler, this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much. Get in there, you beauties. Thank you so much to all the patrons here for supporting the channel on patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. As a thank you, all you legends will be appearing on this outro list. Get in there. Once again, thank you to all the YouTube members, but one of the best ways you can support the channel is on patreon.com, so check it out. Patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. And once again, a big thank you to all the legends that do support the channel on Patreon. Get in there.